The food, the music, the vibe. Kick off your summer at the Ohio Black Expo Riverfront Culture Fest. Tell your friends, share with family. There's no other place to be Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate Black excellence.
Plus 2 concerts featuring Tidra Moses, Talib Kweli, and Jay Rawls, the one and only Marsha Ambrosius, and more.
Experience the African diaspora at its finest. So go to OhioBlackExpo.com for tickets, updates, and more. Visit OhioBlackExpo.com. That's OhioBlackExpo.com.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At CPRfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Callan Cash Coleman, we help our clients not only succeed, but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at CPRfirm.com.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Make sure you pick up my 2 books that's in Amazon right now. The first one is Passive-Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy. And I talk about in that particular book how the system of white supremacy really runs on our daily lives here in America. In our latest book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we go through those steps to try to deprogram you from the system of white supremacy. Make sure you can pick up those books on Amazon.com.
I have the baddest in the building, the Zira Oma.
I don't spend my money at the club.
Whose money is spending?
People come there to spend money for me. So I get paid to be there. I don't pay anything. Everything I want is provided for me.
Take us through your background.
I'm a model, actress, and event host from Zimbabwe.
Baby, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Christ.
There's slay queens who literally dress up, look good, smell good. Then there's people who actually are like used to the lifestyle, grew in the lifestyle. I think it's just the way I dress. And then I gotta do what I gotta do.
Watch Slay Queen only on the African Diaspora News Channel app.
What if I told you there's a news platform made just for us? Unfiltered, unapologetic, telling our stories from Africa and the diaspora. The African Diaspora News Channel app keeps you informed and empowered from wherever you are at any time. Don't just watch, join the movement. Download the app now and stay connected to the news that matters.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us on the stream this evening. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click that subscribe button since you're coming on in. Click the like button. And as you saw, the advertising with Sister Effie, make sure you download the app. We greatly appreciate everybody who is joining the app and joining in on the conversation. So we want to pick up a little bit where we left off last night. We was having a conversation about segregation, but we want to have the conversation tonight about separation versus segregation. And when Black people actually was thriving, were they thriving in a separated state or they were thriving in a segregated state? You know, what's the difference with a segregation versus a separation? And is FBAs practicing a form of separation now? Right? So we're going to get into all of that. And I see people coming on in, and let me check my screen over here, make sure I'm good. I'm good. All right. So let's get into it. So we know we had the conversation last night about, you know, the symbolic thing that Trump did on federal contracting. Now, some people say, oh, he did that because Barack Obama amended it for the LGBT and trans, and that's why he did all that. Whatever, don't even care. The fact is, even if somebody is LGBT, even if it is somebody trans, I don't think you should be banning them from, or potentially banning them from a waiting room or a restaurant or wherever the case may be. I don't agree with treating human beings in that manner. It don't matter about people's orientation, what people do in their bedroom, and with consenting adults. It's their business. That's how I feel about it. The only time I take an issue with it is when you start pushing it on kids and pushing it on society and forcing society, trying to buck break society into your lifestyle. Then I take an issue with it. But if you doing what you do, that's between you and the Lord, and he is your judge, not me. I don't have to put you in heaven or hell. And that's just the bottom line and why I'm at with that. Now, moving ahead. The folks would rather, those who really about it, they would rather segregation and not separation. Now, do you know the difference between segregation and separation? Do you know the difference, class? And let's hit that button. Do you know the difference, class, between segregation and separation? There's really, it seems the same, but it's actually not. It's not the same. Now let's look at segregation. Under segregation, Jim Crow South, anything like that, you were told you have to go live over there. You were told you can't enter this restaurant. You can't drink out of that water fountain. You can't work at this place because of segregation. But one tenet of segregation is you could come and work for me, though. You can come and help me make money. You can help build up my wealth. But after you get off of work, I don't want you to share in any of the wealth. I don't want you to have none of the resources that you help build. You need to go over there and be deprived of the resources that you help build. You must be deprived of that, right? On top of that, I could come into your area where I told you you had to be. I could come to your area. I can get access to your resources, your businesses, your women, the men, whatever the case may be. It's nothing off limits for me. That is segregation. And segregation is about oppression. Segregation is about the depriving of resources. Segregation is about power because the folks chose. They say, listen, we chose by the area of law to say you have to be away from us, but we can still benefit off of you, but you can't keep us out of your area. That's segregation. Now, what is separation? What is separation? Separation is a choice by any group of people to say, I'm going to go over here. I'm not going to interact with anybody over there. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to do what I want to do. Separation isn't about depriving that group of resources. Separation isn't about building up the wealth of another group of people, because when you separate, you're building up the wealth of your group. When you separate, you being educated by your group. You understand what I'm saying? So that is separation. Even the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always talked about separation. And people thought that, oh, well, he's talking about segregation. No, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not talking about no segregation, because with segregation, you didn't have a choice. Separation is a choice that you and your group made. Now, let's move this to modern times. What's a form of separation? Right now, FBAs are practicing a political separation right now. And because FBAs are practicing, they call it delineation, but it still is a form of separation. With the delineation movement, look how mad that the folks get with it. They're very mad about the delineation movement or separation. They're mad about that because, one, they didn't choose that for you. You chose yourself. You say, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to separate. We're going to separate ourselves out of the mess of America. We're not getting involved with their protests. I seen them protesting today on TikTok, talking about Trump signing the thing to get rid of the Department of Education. And I didn't see FBAs nowhere. And I was just like, I was so happy. I was so happy not to see FBAs. FBAs is standing on business. They delineating. They chilling. FBAs have literally removed ourselves out of the process, a form of political separation. We haven't physically separated, but a political separation, and everybody don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do. They've never seen this before with FBAs. This is why they try to shame you, saying, oh, you're being divisive. How I'm being divisive by choosing to go here. I didn't deprive you of resources. I didn't call you names. I'm not even getting involved with your mess. I'm saying you do that over there. We're going to separate and delineate over here. And in the midst of our delineation, we're going to work on our community, right? We're going to get our house in order because we was fighting everybody else's mess for so long that we let our house go to turmoil. We let our kids go to turmoil. We let our education go crazy. We have been prioritizing jobs and things like that in our community. We haven't been doing that whatsoever. We haven't been prioritizing our mental health as we should have been prioritizing because we was out here neglecting our community, going out here fighting for the folks, fighting for immigrants, fighting for whoever, right? And you still got a minority of black people that still want to be on that. Oh, DEI. And the majority of black folks understand the con of the DEI because it didn't benefit us at all. And so they will tell you, oh, black people, I think you're just kind of being a little selfish. Well, black people, you're going to just watch it all burn down. Come on, black people. No, that's when you truly have a separation. You don't care. You say, as long as I'm worrying about myself, I'm worrying about my community. Right? Do you know we thrive the most in a separated state? We do not thrive in a segregated state because the segregated state, we are still building up another community. We are prioritizing other groups of people when we are in a segregated state. And listen, America still is under a segregation. Yes, you can go to the stores. Yes, you can go to the movies. Yes, you can do those things. But when the rubber meets the road, most people don't live with other groups of people like that. We talking about the majority. Most people date and marry within their communities. They hang out with their people. Let's think about it. We do live a form of it. The folks still benefit off of our labor. The folks are still mass incarcerating us. Really, what has changed? Really, segregation, Jim Crow, it just refined itself. But we really don't have a true equality like talking about, right? They have us a little few rights. They let you play in the NFL. They let you play in the NBA. They let you rap. They let you sing. You can date Beckisha and all of them, right? You can do all that. But when the rubber meets the road, when it comes to power, they're not letting you nowhere near it. They give you an illusion of freedom and equality, but you don't have it. They'll give you ninja trinkets. They'll let you get a Mercedes on credit. They'll let you go buy all the Louis Vuitton you want. They'll let you go do all that stuff thinking you made it. But when the rubber meets the road with the area of power, they're not letting you nowhere near it. They're not letting you control business districts. They're not letting you buy acres and acres of land. If you do somehow get acres and acres of land, they're figuring out a way to eminent domain your land. They're trying to figure out a way to sabotage your land, to burn you out your land. These people, and the reason why you're vulnerable like that is because you don't have no mechanisms of power. Because power knows how to protect itself, protect the group, So we really don't fully live in a equality state. Even if you have Congress people, don't matter. They plantation junkies. They bootlicks. They want to keep the same system going that benefits the folks. Just for they get a couple of peanuts off the table, maybe a little bit more than you, but they're willing to do it. The Jasmine Crockett's of the world, the Maxine Waters of the world, right? The Congressional Black Caucus. They'll sell all of us out, and it's only small. If you think about it, the number of black folks in Congress is not a whole lot, but that group hurts 40 some odd million people by going with the folks, want to keep us underneath a system of a refined segregation just so they can get some money. They'll be sassy. They'll have their bundles. They'll have their lashes. They'll cuss you out. You know, they'll claim they got all this education, but they cussing you out every 2 minutes, saying you don't know nothing, saying you need a civics class, doing all this, and ain't nothing but a fool from a plantation. And so the delineation movement, what that has done has sent a shockwave, which is a form of separation, has sent a shockwave. So yes, it has created a division. Okay? But if you go back to the scripture, when Jesus said, I ain't come here to bring no peace, I come here to bring a sword. And I come here to divide mother and father. Okay? Husband and wife. Son and daughter. For righteousness' sake. Yeah, so it has to be a division. You have to divide the righteous and the unrighteous. So what FBAs have done is say, listen, we have seen a lot of unrighteousness in the land. And unfortunately, we have participated in upholding the righteousness by thinking we're doing something on a moral and just cause. We have seen the error in our ways. We have helped these people maintain. So what FBAs have been saying is we have to come out from among them and go take our rest and focus on our community and let them handle it what they want to handle. And Trump haven't even been in office in a year, and this man has done more in a short amount of time to them than any other group. Trust me, they're losing their mind about Trump signing executive orders to dismantle the Department of Education. Do you know how many of the folks depend on the Department of Education? Do you really think we get all the grants and all the scholarships from the Department of Education? Do you really think we get it the most? No. Every government, when you talk about government handouts, listen to me. When you talk about government handouts, the one who's getting the handouts isn't FBAs. No. What they do, they like to put you as the face and say, oh, look, them black women. Oh, look, they getting welfare and food stamps. And then you look at the numbers, white women getting the most welfare and food stamps. White women getting the most Section 8. Every government program out there, white folks are getting the most of it. But yet what they'll do is say, oh, see them black people? You see, they lazy. They get all it. Listen, if we're lazy for getting a government program, then the folks are 100 times more lazy than we are. Well, I mean, let's think about history. They could have picked their own cotton. And we wouldn't have this problem today, right? They could have picked their own cotton. They could have harvested their own tobacco. They could have planted their own sugar cane. They could have did all that themselves. Why they need the black folks to do it, right? Just saying. So separation, or better in other words, as delineation, has created a shockwave in America. Y'all have to understand they need us to get up and do something. They need, listen, even the Republicans are like, yeah, I know we get some things done, but it just don't feel right. It's like, it's too easy. Like, can you fight us a little bit? Like give us a little fight back. Like, y'all just not, just strange. What are they doing? Like, we're doing all this stuff and black people not saying a word. They're like, sign executive order, And it could bring some segregation in, and black people like, don't care, bring it. And they scratching their head like, who are these ninjas? Who are they? Where's the old ones at? We can just do something like this, and they just singing "We Shall Overcome," and they crying and all that. Like, what happened to these people? What happened? Like, do y'all know? Y'all monitoring social media. I know that. Y'all monitoring what they saying constantly. Like, what's going on? Like, what? Like, I don't get it. Well, you know, I mean, they had this delineation movement. They're saying they're delineating from everybody. They say they're not doing anything. You know, they're saying this is the FBA, Foundation of Black Americans, because, you know, trust me, they know everything. If ChatGPT knows about the FBA, and it does, go ask ChatGPT right now, what is an FBA? It knows it to the T. So if ChatGPT know what FBA is, know what it means, and everything about it, and why it's being said, ChatGPT knows, then you better believe they know. That's their job to know. It's their job. So they're discussing what is going on. This can't be too easy. We doing this too easy. And while they're doing it too easy, they're literally tearing apart the comforts of the folks. That's what's happening. Their comforts is going away. Listen, we come from a group of people that we can make $1 out of 15 cents. That's our people. The folks didn't come from that. They didn't come from making $1 out of 15 cents. They didn't come from served sandwiches. They didn't come from that. They came from, even when they say they're poor and, I didn't have anything, their skin is worth billions of dollars in this country. They can literally show up as a failure out of jail, okay? And get more than a college-educated black person. That's been proven. A white felon can get a job over a college-educated black person who has no criminal record. I'm going to repeat that again. A white felon from prison can get a job over a black college-educated person with no criminal record, which means that they fail up. We've all seen the failure of up, right? They show up on the job, don't have the educational experience, and within 6 months, they can be your supervisor. You have the education, you've been there. The logical thing to say, put you in that position because you got the education, experience, etc. But no, they fail up. That's why when I see some of them homeless, say, how'd that happen? Like if you have everything given to you, all you gotta do is show up. You can get a loan from the bank because, he seems like a good guy. Like, how can you fail in that kind of system? And you still failing? You still failing in that system? Listen, I understand why black people are homeless. Look at the conditions we've been put in. But how do you end up being homeless in a system that benefits you and have benefited you for hundreds and hundreds of years? How? I don't get that. Yeah, Veronica said this. I'm seeing more of us at the market smiling at each other and talking to each other. Yeah, because we don't have that stress of America on us anymore. Oh, and something else that's been going on. I probably need to cover that. This is about the third story I didn't see. So you had a Canadian white woman and 2 German white people come to this country and ICE jammed them up, put them in ICE detention. Now, both of them had, like, one guy had a visa with the U.S., some sort of work visa. He had a DUI case, and I think he didn't go to court or something like that. Well, they jammed him up like he was a terrorist or something and locked him up when this one Canadian white woman coming across the border from Mexico back over to, I think, to San Diego or whatever. She had lost her visa, but then she got a new one or something like that because something she did at the company and her visa was attached to the job. But she ended up getting a new one. They jammed her up, got her in ICE detention right now. And these are white folks they doing this to. White folks from different countries. And the woman was calling the Canadian government. They're like, yeah, we really can't do much because, we can't say much about what a country's entry and exit policies are. So, tough luck on that one. I'm like, what is this? But how many times have we been jammed up by the police and we say, hey, that's some injustice, man. They doing us wrong. Like, what are they doing? Oh, well, if you just follow the laws and stop committing crimes, the police wouldn't be doing that. Blue lives matter, right? Blue lives matter. Now, see, so what y'all saying, ICE, but the streets, you say the streets getting cold. Yeah, man, the streets is interesting. The ICE streets are interesting. They're very, very interesting. Now, I want to show y'all something. Just look at us historically. See, when these people come over here to this country and they be trying to talk down on us, some, not all, but the ones who are just definitely off code in the diaspora and the other groups, we're not here to be the bootlick of the folks. We never did that. That's never been our history. We've always wanted to separate and go live our own lives, right? Now, let's talk about one time in history we were separating and the reason why things happen is because these folks were terrorizing, right? Now, let's look at let's go to this article about Rosewood. And you know the story about Rosewood, but I want to focus this on this just a little bit. Now, Rosewood, of course, we had to remember Rosewood. It's in Gainesville, Florida. Now, they're talking about the small town in Levy County, Florida, became ground zero of historical events that helped define the conversation around race and reparations in America. It's located 9 miles east of Cedar Key, near the Gulf of Mexico. Rosewood, Florida, was founded in 1847. The town had a population of 200 people, mostly African-American families, and a lone white family, the Wrights, who owned the last remaining store some years before its infamous demise. Rosewood was a bustling and fiscally diverse town of black landowners. It was estimated that Rosewood's families owned up to 300 acres each. Not a little plot of land, but 300 acres each, right? And we talking about 200, their various families. A fact that was instrumental in their unprecedented reparations win decades later. Yes, the state of Florida did reparations for the descendants of Rosewood. We're going to get to that. Because they say, they never did that before for black people. Oh, yes, they have. The state of Florida did. And you can use that for reparations. Many of those families, called grand 2-story residences with such luxuries as parlors and pianos. They were staying in 2-story homes, okay? This is going on when you separate. It's a home with other tilled smaller plots and had more modest accommodations. It said life in Rosewood dared to boast promise and security in the Jim Crow South. It said, but that charmed existence was shattered when a vicious tale devastated the lives of the close-knit community and destroyed the town. One legacy of the folks is that put them to destroying. Hey, they the best in the business. They're proving that with history. We talking about history. We're not lying on nobody. We talking about history. Put them to destroying, putting them to killing something. That's it. Think about it even today. We have over 1,000 military bases all over the world. What do a military base do? What do a military do? What's they go destroy stuff. They kill stuff, right? We don't have like 1,000 manufacturing hubs all over the world putting out great American products in these countries. No. We got military bases. That's our export. Now, of course, you know the story. January 1, 1923, a married white Sumner, Florida woman claimed that she had been attacked by an unidentified black man. Her husband and a band of angry white men invaded Rosewood in search of the alleged perpetrator. The mob brutally tortured and lynched, Sam Carter, and also tried to lynch Aaron Carrier, who was dragged behind a car and left for dead. No one was immune to their rage, with a house full of terrified children huddled inside. Prominent Rosewood resident Sarah Carrier was gunned down on her doorstep, and when her son Sylvester fought back, taking out, those white supremacists, and say he was, unalived as well. Exaggerated reports of his self-defense panicked nearby white citizens, and the mob swelled with numbers from neighboring counties, including the Ku Klux Klan. Days of terror and chaos ensued. Residents fleeing the violence were forced to seek refuge in nearby woods and swamps, while mobs hunted them and razed Rosewood to the ground. Okay? So every time we do something on our own, here they come to try to destroy it. When you look at black people's condition today, if we were left alone, we would be 1,000 times more where we at today. 1,000 times more. Now, they say the women and children, men were not allowed. They say were evacuated by rail to Gainesville, Florida, with help from the white Rosewood store owner, John Wright, which they never talk about this man, not at all, and his friends, the Bryce brothers, who owned the train. So the white man was helping the black people escape, okay? The folks never talk about those. Listen, when they want to say we all not anti-black racists, why don't they talk about men like John Wright that actually lived in Rosewood and actually helped the black people escape his community? They never want to honor the white people who did great things. They always want to honor Robert E. Lee and them jokers. And you know what I'm saying? That's who they want, to honor Confederates, instead of honoring a man like John Wright. Okay? Now, say in the Jim Crow South, of course, where we were, regularly terrorized, many, they talk about different things. So let's go all the way down here. This is the part I want to show y'all. After investigative journalists published a comprehensive article on Rosewood in 1982. Who else? A little one then. It says CBS 60 Minutes report aired in December 1983. In 1994, the Florida legislature passed House Bill 591, which acknowledged the destruction of the town and the failure of government officials to thoroughly investigate the incident and secure the area for the safe return of displaced residents. Descendants, listen to this, descendants, not the people that went through it, descendants of Rosewood were awarded $2.1 million, making them the only African Americans to receive reparations from a legislative body in America. It's House Bill 591, okay? So Florida paid a reparation of $2.1 million, okay? Now, I see y'all say, angry and saying this is pure, but this is the history this is why they don't want you to know history. This is why they want to remove the books, because in Florida's history, this is right here. Now the conversation could be, wait a minute, Florida pay reparations to the descendants of Rosewood? Whoa, why? Nobody said nothing about it? I said, okay, well, shoot, that's another case that you can build off on for reparations, right? They got paid reparations for what happened to Rosewood. So how come not the descendants of slaves? So what happened to us? Our ancestors that went through slavery, right? And we're going to get it. You're 100% right. We're going to get ours. Now, this is what happens when, like I said, I want you to imagine this. Go to research how much 300 acres of land is. FBAs had millions and millions of acres of land. FBAs were the biggest farmers in this country. Under the guise of saying we can't be around them, they'd say go over there or whatever, right? And when we are separated, we thrive more. We have not really thrived ever since integration. Integration really meant integrating our money into their pockets. That's what integration really did. We integrated our morals, and a lot of us, unfortunately, have taken on the character of the folks. If you look at black folks today, we have literally gotten away from even what I knew us to be in the 80s and 90s in the area of our moral character. We are doing and saying things and committing crimes that back in the day when you didn't even have to know who it was. You heard certain crimes get committed, say, oh, know who did that. and you would be spot on like this because you just knew what crimes black people were committing. You knew it. But it's some old crimes against children, some old craziness stuff, whatever. You say, yeah, oh yeah, oh he crashed out somewhere. Oh, we know good and well it ain't DeAndre in them. Who is that? Brad? And you get turned on TV. Yep, that's Brad. Now black folks are doing the same things. And how did that happen? I seen the transition of us going from who we were, real tight families in the 80s and 90s. We go to church on Sunday. Because listen, we all went to church on Sunday. You may say, oh, well, this about the preacher. Forget the preacher. After church, we all got together as a family. We all ate together. Grandma and them didn't play that you wasn't going to be with the family on Sunday. You understand? And the biggest issue that happened in our community was when people like my grandmother died, grandfathers died, nobody was left to keep those families together. Then the cares of this world, right? Because you got like the Bible teaches the cares of this world. Everybody out here trying to get money. Everybody trying to do this. Everybody trying to do that. And I understand, look, you can get money 6 days a week. Can you at least say, hey, it's family day today. It's Sunday. Can we spend together as a family? 6 days a week, let's get the money. But even God himself rested one day out the week. That's something I think about. That's why I like on Sundays, I want to shut it down. Because I'm like, hey, I don't want to be doing nothing about, at least no filming or certain things. I'm trying to stay away from that on Sundays. Because Sundays should be spent more with your family because you're not going to be here forever. So you need to cherish every day you get. Get the money 6 days a week, though. Get it. Now, let's talk about something else real quick. Let me go to another article. How we were thriving, right? I'm gonna show you this article and I'm gonna play something and I'm gonna pick it back up. So, this article right here from 2021, actually, talking about Black Wall Street. Okay, so I'm gonna play the video real quick, and then we're gonna kind of go through this and see like how we thrive when we are left alone, right? And every time we have something like that, here come the folks. So when they try to tell you about our condition, black on black crime, or this and that and the third, that was not existing because we was always like that. How could we even have a Black Wall Street, right? So let me go ahead and cue this.
Amid the coronavirus pandemic, the beating heart of Tulsa's Greenwood district is still here at the historic Vernon AME Church. The sanctuary sits atop a basement that is the last remaining structure in the once prosperous black community that was destroyed by a white mob during the bloody massacre in 1921.
We're the only thing on the original Greenwood Avenue that's still black owned, and the only thing that's still black owned in the Greenwood district.
Nearly 100 years ago, the oil boom made Tulsa a mecca for a generation of black war veterans, businessmen, doctors, and lawyers.
You've got folks that are envious of what they called at that time Little Africa.
Then, on June 1st, 1921, hundreds of white Tulsa residents went on a murderous rampage after a white woman accused a black man of sexual assault.
You would either stay in your house and burn to death or try to run out in the street and hope not to be felled by a bullet.
Homes were looted, then burned to the ground, and hundreds were killed.
Not one person was ever charged with a crime from the worst race massacre in American history.
A history shrouded in secrecy.
For so long, there was this intimidation of silence that the white community put upon Greenwood, that if anybody talked about it, they became missing, they were killed, they were lynched.
Now, in the midst of a national reckoning on systemic racism, President Trump has offered this solution.
What you now see, it's been happening, is the greatest thing that can happen for race relations, for the African American community. That's what my plan is. We're going to have the strongest economy in the world.
For descendants of massacre survivors like Oklahoma State Representative Regina Goodwin, that message falls flat.
You had wealthy folks in Tulsa at the time, so their wealth did not protect them from racism, nor would anyone's wealth today.
As Tulsa seeks to move forward, it must first look back.
Black folks have the story. We want white folks to begin to share the story, but the accurate story.
Right here. Yep. June 1st, 1921, both of them.
Here in the city cemetery, only 2 graves mark the dead from that massacre, and the location of most of the victims' bodies are unknown.
Right here where this road goes down the middle of Oaklawn Cemetery, and they built a trench. They dug a trench and dumped bodies down into the trenches.
Chief Amasan's grandfather survived the massacre as an infant, then returned to Tulsa as an adult. Now, Amasan works to find those who didn't survive, soon digging to find the remains of those who were lost. Generations separated from Tulsa's darkest day, a chance to change course.
So if we learn anything from this, we're getting an opportunity to see whether or not man's inhumanity to man has changed at all.
All right. Now, before I even go back to this article here, let me say something like, man, I may even run over time. Rosewood and Black Wall Street, what sparked it off? A white woman lying on a black man. Both of them. That's what sparked that off. Both of them. Now, I know we laugh at Dr. Umar. We laugh at him about the snow bunny thing and all of that. But I've always said I agree with Dr. Umar on that. 1,000% I agree with Dr. Umar. Because if you look at the history of this country, just as a brother, like even to this day, I've covered stories in the past where young brothers are engaging in conversation with them. And I remember this one story out of Louisiana. This one female was sending pictures to another teenage black boy. She was sending him the pictures on the cell phone. He the one gets charged for having, pictures of an underage woman, underage girl, and he's underage himself. He gets a charge for what she was sending to him. She don't get charged, but he got charged. It's so many stories about brothers have been jammed up with this situation, with that. That's why, like I say, what Umar talking about right there, I'm with him. I'm with him 1,000%, at least with the snow bunny part. I am, because I always said I never wanted a power dynamic in my house like that. You know what I'm saying? No. Now let's get to this here. So we know it was 35 city blocks, thriving shops, hotels, theaters, and more. All were black owned. District founded by black men and women. We found it together. It wasn't just the men. It wasn't just the women. See, y'all have to understand, we're successful together. All this, I don't need a man. I don't want to get married to these women, because a lot of brothers say that too. That's why we're worse off today, because we're not working together. Now, I can proudly say I work with brothers and sisters here as FBAs. I work with them in the diaspora, and that's why we're, making some headway, because we're working together. You understand what I'm saying? We need the sisters need the brothers. That's the only way we can make it. Now, I said many of whom were descendants of slaves. It's saying it became known as Black Wall Street. So Greenwood was home of doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. It said for years, at that time period, you didn't become a doctor and leave the community. You didn't become a lawyer and leave the community. You didn't open up a business and leave the community. You were there in the community, right? Let's say for years, it was a beacon for African Americans looking for to escape the discrimination and violence of the Jim Crow South and live a peaceful and safe life. They say, but even in Greenwood, now everyone will say racial tensions and violence with the neighboring white residents in Tulsa boiled over in May 31, 1921, as we clearly know that, okay? It was burned to the ground. Now, there's something else I want to point out to y'all. The foundations of and this CNN had put this up. The foundations of Greenwood District and the Black Wall Street were built in the 1830s when African Americans first migrated to Oklahoma. It said look at this, many black people had arrived as slaves. Because remember, this is in the 1830s. As slaves to the Native American members. These same Native Americans that keep getting all these resources. That's why I'd be like, man, that need to get cut off. Of the Chickasaw, Choctaw, Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole tribes who were forced to relocate from the southern eastern U.S. to Oklahoma Territory as a result of President Andrew Jackson's Indian Removal Act. So all these, I hope y'all knew this, even these so-called Native Americans, they had black people enslaved too. They owe too. Now, they found the end of the Civil War in 1865 and the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which called for the abolition of slavery. So African Americans were granted citizenship and allotted plots of land where they could begin their new lives as free men and women. The land allocation led to a boom in all black towns, including Greenwood. Say between 1865 and 1920, the number of all black towns and settlements grew to more than 50. Today, only 13 all black towns exist, according to Oklahoma Historical Society. Okay. Now, that's the thing I wanted to kind of highlight, because that we can go into this a whole nother stream. But these so-called Native Americans, let's remember this: the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Cherokee, the Creek, and the Seminole tribes was enslaving FBAs as well. So when these so-called Native Americans come up to you and say, hey, I'm being discriminated against, look what they doing to me. Look at them like, what tribe you from? Oh, you from the Cherokee? Oh, you enslaved my ancestors too. Hey, what's up with my reparations from you too? You owe. Because you had my people enslaved too. You no different than them. So what's run me my bread, man? I don't want to hear no talk of y'all with no discrimination until you run me my bread. You owe reparations to FBAs. These so-called Native Americans were also hunting down black people that's runaway slaves. They was hunting them down. Look up the history. And they say, hey, bring them back to me, dead or alive. You bring them dead, like, hey, I'll scalp them, whatever. Yeah, just show me that's who it is and all that. You cut their head off, whatever. Bring it and show us, we give you the money. That's the history of this country. But this is why they don't want you and me to know the history of America. It's because when we start learning, we start saying, hey, you owe, you definitely owe, all y'all owe. And none of y'all have been righteous toward FBAs. So separating ourselves from all of y'all made sense, because all of y'all are complicit. All of you have been guilty of doing something to us. I didn't enslave, my group didn't enslave y'all. No, but this is what your group did. You came and wanted to join with the group that enslaved us. And you start parroting the talking points and everything to that other group in hopes that you can get in good with them. You chose to do that. You could have chose to join us, but you chose not to do that. So I don't want to hear from no group. You come in here want to join the folks, you just like them. Hence why you have delineation. And delineation is only going to grow stronger and stronger and stronger. It's not going nowhere, because we're seeing more things get done. As Veronica said earlier, seeing more black people just being happy to talk to each other, not being as stressed because we're not worried about nothing no more. We're like, that's on the news. Okay, whatever. That's fine. We don't care. It's great. It's great to be in that position where you just don't care. Trump, Department of Education. Okay. What y'all doing for Easter? That's how black people is right now. You got your cruise, you planning your cruise? You calling Carnival, whatever? What cruise you planning? Yeah. We going on a cruise this week. We going on a cruise. Oh, really going on a cruise? Okay, cool. What you doing? Oh, shoot, man. I'll probably going up there to, I don't know, probably go to Chicago and hang out for about a good, couple of days in Chicago and visit family and friends. Okay, yeah, or whatever. Ain't nobody worrying about y'all. Like, what you doing? Man, I'm going to Ethiopia in another week. Going to enjoy myself in Ethiopia. Okay, cool. You going to Ethiopia with us? Great. Not worry about what America doing. Let America do what it want to do. And that's just really what it is. And they don't know how to take that when black people like this not word. They don't know how to take it. Well, they traveling too much. We're going to shut that down. Okay. Back in the day, we didn't travel nowhere. We didn't go on no cruises, no nothing, but we sure had a lot of cookouts. We sure had family reunions. We had a lot of games, prizes, dancing, enjoying ourselves. Bro, we know how to enjoy ourselves. You can stop us from traveling. You can do whatever. We still going to have a good time. That's one thing about black people. We will make a time. We so talented. We can make music just with our hands and our mouth and get people dancing with our hands. That's just what we do. We don't need much of nothing to have fun. Now, Carlette say her step-grandmother, that's an interesting person, say was half Cherokee and Black American. She said that the Native Americans enslaved Black Americans. Of course they did. Of course they did. Matter of fact, after the 13th Amendment, there was some Native American tribes that still had black people enslaved, and the U.S. government had to go to them and say, hey, you can't enslave them. We stopped that. You got to let them go. So they still had some black people enslaved. So yeah, these so-called Native Americans, they owe too. And yeah, traveling, hey, and also travel within the United States too. Because trust me, most FBAs haven't seen all 50 states. Now, I'm not saying to go to Montana where the folks are at. I mean, but you want to go to Montana, go. I'm not telling you not to go. I say go with a big group if you're going to do it. But most black people haven't even seen the majority of the cities that black people are in, I mean, it's rare if you have a black person that's been in every major city that black people are at least located. I say at least go do that. Go to your LAs, your Oaklands, at least go where black people at. Because, LA is a little different than what it used to be in the 80s and 90s. Your Atlanta's, your Houston, your Dallas, Chicago, your Detroit. You got your Milwaukee. You got all these different places where black people at. You know what I'm saying? They're always trying to show the bad of these places. Man, they got nice spots with black people everywhere in the country. A lot of spots in Maryland, a lot of spots in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Go to D.C. Last time I went to D.C., I was out there. People just hollering at me on the street. I was having a good time talking to the brothers and sisters in D.C. You know what I'm saying? So it's everywhere. That's one thing about us as FBAs. No matter where we at in the country, we are the same people. So it's all love. You know what I'm saying? You're in New York City. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Do that. Yeah. If you ain't got to leave the country to go enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself in America too. You know what I'm saying? The brothers and sisters in Charlotte, North Carolina, enjoy yourself. Travel. I want y'all to travel. Don't stay cooped up in your city. I'm so against that. And I'm so against our children not traveling. I want our children to travel. I want our children to see America and also other parts of the world. It makes them more well-rounded. You know what I'm saying? Give our children something different. Maybe you didn't grow up that way because I didn't grow up that way. But I've definitely had my children travel, and I want them to travel a lot more as a family. Because listen, one of the greatest vacations we ever took, and we still, and my daughter was still talking about it, my oldest one, is when we went to South Africa in 2023. We did a big family vacation in 2023. And when we did this vacation, I said, you know what? I used to see white people doing this sort of thing. Like going on destination vacations with family. I just felt so great as a father just to see my family go. We went to South Africa, we did Johannesburg and did Cape Town. And now how I am now about Cape Town, because them folks own one in Cape Town. They didn't do it to me, but they just own one in Cape Town. Cape Town is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Cape Town is beautiful. I would never take that away. But I prefer to go to Durban over Cape Town now because, I'd rather go out there with the Zulu brothers and sisters out there. And there's more black folks in Durban, I'm going to say that much, than it is in Cape Town. It's like all them folks want to flood Cape Town. Jesus Christ. And that's why they got some problems down there, too. Some FBAs went over there and they had the nerves to tell the FBA, oh, you can't eat in here because you black. Like, what kind of crap is that? Y'all got going on over here. But hey, that's a different stream for a different day. But thank y'all for joining us here. What? Who said something? What? About D.L. Hewley? I don't know. But anyway, thank y'all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Tomorrow night we'll have our stream on the app, so make sure to join us on the app tomorrow night for the stream. And thank y'all for listening.